So I'm back with some more creepy Reddit stories for y'all, and these are, again, super interesting, scary, and worth listening. I hope y'all are excited to get into the video. And these stories are some of my best collection so far, trust me. Subscribe if you're new here, like the video, and put on your headphones, and let's just get right into the first story. My family saw a UFO. Now we don't speak. My family experienced something I can't explain, and we've stopped talking to each other. I don't know what to do. I don't want to sound crazy. We're normal people. If any of this sounds familiar, please reach out to me. I need to know what's happening to my family. It's hard to know where to begin. I don't know when this all started, but it hasn't stopped. I live with my wife and 2 college-age daughters. I'm a private chef. My wife is a teacher. We live in a suburb outside a coastal U.S. city, in an 80s-era planned community where every house and street feels like a mirror image. Crisp lawns, HOAs, everyone knows everyone. The people are a little bland, but we have a yard and a pool, and we can pay for groceries, and we can barely afford to send our kids to college out of state. We were lucky, I thought. My first experience with the supernatural was last spring. Okay, you're really gonna hate this one, Sarah said. It was Monday, my Saturday, and I was grilling vegetables by the pool. My eldest daughter, a born trickster, sat on the least broken pool chair, bombarding me with the most willfully ignorant pop music she could find, or terrible cooking videos, or clips of classic cars refurbished with electric motors. Anything to get a reaction out of her poor Gen X dad. Please, no. How about the guy who makes things out of chocolate? I countered, hoping for a compromise. I'm looking for the Kings game you went to in 2006 where they lost 1-10, Sarah jabbed. I'm burning your food on purpose, I quipped. Wait, Sarah said, suddenly still. Whatever this thing is, whatever these things are, my wife and my daughters feel it before I do. I don't know if they're more sensitive to it or what, but they always know something is there before me. Call it women's intuition. What's wrong? As I said it, I remember it got very quiet. Like the volume for the outside world turned all the way down. The birds, the traffic, and the white noise of suburbia went silent. I couldn't even hear the sizzle of the vegetables cooking 2 feet in front of me. The lack of sound didn't bother me, however, because I saw something in the sky. A disc. I didn't want to see a disc, but I saw a disc. It was made of metal, perfectly smooth, no rivets, no seams, no wings, no exhaust. A perfectly formed metal disc, 15 feet wide, like 2 contact lenses stuck together, just sitting there. There were lights, big ones, bright in the sun even in the middle of the day, moving all around it. I remember thinking, really? Part of me was exasperated at how, well, dumb it looked. Like an old movie model. Only somehow I knew it was real. And I was being watched. And then I felt the fear. If you ask me, I think the craft makes people feel it. I don't know. I know it sounds crazy. It's like a madness. It fills you up, cold, just pure terror. As soon as your eyes see a craft, in a few seconds your mind blanks and you feel only fear of the thing in front of you. The disc-shaped ones and the triangle-shaped ones, they always seem to broadcast the fear. I'd never felt panic like that. I know how to deal with it a little easier now, but back then I wanted to put my daughter in the car and drive as far away from the thing as possible. Only I was completely frozen. I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. I could only move my eyes, and even that took tremendous effort. I struggled to look in my daughter's direction and saw she was equally paralyzed. Her pupils turned to me, then back to the craft. And we did that for a few seconds, trying to process what was happening, looking to the disc, to each other, and back. It was agony. And then the disc was gone. I was looking right at it. It didn't fly away. It didn't zoom off at incredible speeds. It was like it stopped existing while I was staring at it. When it was gone, I could move, and I could breathe, and my daughter started crying, and I comforted her, and we swore and shook. What the hell was that? Are you okay? I remember we both asked that. I remember reaching for my phone, but it was dead. Sarah's phone was dead too. We went inside to charge them, still in a daze. Your face is really red, said Sarah, concerned. I caught my reflection in the hallway mirror. She was right. My face was burned, like a sunburn. I wear sunblock every day and often work long hours in the sun. I never get sunburned. I'll get you some aloe, Sarah said, retreating into the downstairs bathroom. I glanced at the oven clock. It was 3 hours later than I expected. 3 hours? I muttered. We were only outside for a few minutes, right? Sarah's eyes widened in realization. What happened to us? Sarah said softly. We were missing time. I don't know where that time went. I don't know what happened during that time. Time feels weird around these things. It's hard to describe. We didn't talk much for a while. We just kind of sat in the living room, scrolling our phones. The evening darkened. I remember thinking I wanted to say something, but I didn't know what. My wife Lauren and our youngest daughter Danny, returning home from work, broke us out of our malaise. A UFO burned your face? Lauren said, incredulous. Lauren was always funny, even when she wasn't trying to be. I won't lie, it sounded dumb. I tried to think of how to word it better. I saw it too. It was really weird, Sarah said, seriously. You sure you weren't standing too close to the grill again? Danny teased. Her pants were covered in flour and oil, her hair pulled back. Danny worked at a restaurant, despite my objections. You're supposed to make the food in the restaurant, not on your outfit, I teased back. Danny smirked. She liked kitchen talk. She was a lot like me in that way. I don't understand. Did you provoke them? Why'd they come all the way from space just to burn you? Lauren asked, spreading student tests on the dining room table. Did it look like the ones we saw when we were kids? Danny asked Sarah. No, this one was different. It was a different shape, Sarah said, shaking her head. What are you talking about? Which ones? I asked, confused. Do you remember the night we saw the blue elf? Danny asked. Memories of Sarah and Danny as kids flooded my brain. One night, a brilliant blue light in the sky. Sarah and Danny ran into our room to hide. The feeling of someone watching. The memory filled me with dread. Feeling uncomfortable, I tried to change the subject. I don't want to cook tonight. Let's order out. What should we get? I said, presenting a distraction. We ate dinner as a family that night. We talked about normal things. I tried to seem unbothered, but I was obsessively turning over the sighting of the disc in my mind. What was that? Why couldn't we move? The feeling stayed with me long after the meal had ended and the dishes were done. I remember that was our last normal dinner. I wish I'd made more of an effort that night. We'll never be the same family we were then. I guess before I tell you about that night, I should explain what an orb is. An orb is a kind of floating sphere. It looks kind of like a blue basketball filled with spaghetti-looking strands of something. It has a mind, I think. I don't know what these things are. From what I can tell, they are unknowable. They will harm you. If you see an orb, my advice is to run. They can move through walls. The first night with the orbs changed all of our lives forever. We stopped talking after that night. I don't know if I can write it down in detail yet. Even this was hard. I read something recently. Scientists have communicated with apes via sign language since the 1960s. In all that time, apes have never asked a question. Maybe they can't conceive of what a question is. Their mind just can't form the reasoning to understand how to think of one. I think that's what it's like when we see these things, these orbs or discs or whatever. Like we're seeing something we can't comprehend. I don't think we think about aliens the right way. They're not from another planet. They're from somewhere else entirely. Something has happened to my family. Something happened and we're still dealing with it, and I don't know what to do. I'm afraid to tell people. We're afraid to talk about it with each other. I'm not even sure if anyone will read this. The world needs to know what's out there, what my family experienced. My family can't be the first. There must be others. If you're still with me after these ramblings, thank you. The next part will not be easy to write, but you deserve to know the full truth about what the orbs did to us, what they're capable of. For now, I present to you this information. I do not think we live in a completely material world. There are supernatural forces all around us, and most of them are unkind. Be careful with how you think and what you think of. How do I get rid of a dead body if he's still alive? Yeah, that's the title. The post reads like this. I'm not usually one to post on these sites, but I need your help. I just celebrated my 36th wedding anniversary with my husband, Terry. Terry took me out to eat at Ruby's where we'd had our first date. We ate steaks, had wine, and even made love. Everything was going great, except one thing. Terry died about 3 days ago. Now, I realize you may be confused at this point. I certainly was at first. He did die. I'm sure of it, because I found him. Terry has always been a deep sleeper. He even had a CPAP machine for the last 5 years or so because he slept so deeply he stopped breathing. He had obstructive sleep apnea where his airway was restricted when he laid down. That day was like any other day at first. Since it was our anniversary, I got up quietly, made coffee, and started to get ready for work with the bathroom door closed. Terry usually slept late on Wednesdays, so I didn't think anything odd when he didn't move as I got up. It wasn't until I got out of the shower and went back through the bedroom that things started to feel weird. Terry usually would take his mask off and lay in bed for a few minutes while I showered, and when I came out of the shower, I'd make sure he got up. It was our little routine. Except that morning, when I said, "Happy anniversary, sweetheart, I made some coffee," he didn't move. His CPAP was still on, and he looked kind of funny. It was eerily quiet. The CPAP machine usually made this constant low roaring sound when it forced air through the tubing and into his mask so Terry could breathe. I'd gotten so used to it, I hardly even heard it anymore. I heard its absence though. It was dead silent. I had one towel wrapped around my head and another around my body. Both my hands were occupied with keeping those in place, so I bumped his foot with my bare leg, but he was ice cold and stiff. "Terry, babe, are you okay?" But he wasn't. I had to pry that mask off his face and lift him up in the bed to check his heart and his lungs. No heartbeat, no breath. His eyes were closed, thank God, but he'd already started to turn a funny shade of bluish purple. It was a disturbing sight. His face was the worst of it. Along his cheek, red marks lined where his mask had been like he'd tried to claw it off, but couldn't. I was so shocked I couldn't even scream. I didn't call anyone. I didn't even move for what felt like hours, but must have only been a few minutes. My hair was still wet. I don't even remember crying. That's the weird thing. Like I could almost tell myself it didn't even happen, especially after what happened later. I know this is the part where you're going to judge me, but it is what it is. I left him there in the bed and went to work. I didn't know what to do. It's not like I could deadlift him by myself. I wrapped him in the covers he was laying on and shut the bedroom door. Then I drove to work. I must have been in shock. When I got there, Melanie's car was already there along with some other part-time staff. A few of them were standing by the door since they didn't have a key to get in. I parked and let them in the library and headed to circulation where my office is. When I turned the corner, Melanie stood frozen in the lobby like she'd seen a ghost. She was facing towards the mirrored stairway at the center of the building. She had such a funny look on her face, now that I think about it. When she saw me, she snapped back to her usual smile and waved to me. I waved back. Then I watched her walk back up the stairs. I looked back at the mirror again after she'd left. I had crossed the lobby and walked over near the stairs where the main light switches were. I saw how tired I looked in the image reflected back at me. I hadn't realized how dark the material was before. It had a smoky beauty I'd never noticed. Something pulled me closer. I noticed motion behind me, in the mirror. At first I thought it was just the part-timers coming in for the day, but I turned around and nobody was there. Voices carried out from the break room in the distance. I turned back around. There, right behind me, was Terry. I'm not sure if I was scared or relieved. I just stared at him. I didn't bother to look back. I knew he wouldn't be there. What I did instead was even more surprising to me. I reached out my hand and touched the mirror. My fingers brushed against the cool obsidian surface, and for a moment, nothing happened. Then I felt it. Something was pressing back from the other side. Soft at first, then with more and more pressure. Fingertips came first, then a hand, an arm, a shoulder, then a head. Terry's head, followed by the rest of him. I backed away and couldn't help but stare, open-mouthed. He smiled. My Terry's smile. The one he'd given me the first time we'd met, in this very room. Tanya came around the corner and waved at the both of us. "Hey, Dusty." "Aw, that's sweet that Terry came with you today. Happy anniversary, guys." "Great to see you, Terry. How's the tomato crop this year?" Terry smiled, his usual smile. Then he waved. Tanya waved back and moved off around the desk. He didn't move his mouth or his body. I grabbed Terry's hand and walked us out to the parking lot, and we both got into my car and drove away. I called my boss from the car saying that I was sick so I wouldn't have to go back to work. When we got home, the other Terry was still there, wrapped in those sheets. Except something was wrong. The smell was unbearable, like rotten meat. I asked Terry to help me put the other Terry in the closet so he wouldn't stink up the house. For some reason, Terry wasn't speaking still, but he had the same kind eyes, and his smile. I realize you may judge me for doing what I did and not getting help or telling anyone outside of this forum. I don't expect you to understand. Terry is all I have. We got dressed that night and celebrated our anniversary like we planned. I had my Terry back. It was a miracle. That was 3 days ago. I haven't been back to work. I read on the news about what happened to Bobby. They said he dug out his eyeballs and carved the words, "Are you scared?" into his chest by the time they found him. He'd crawled into an air duct on the 3rd floor of the library. He'd been muttering something about mirrors, apparently. He had been admitted to the state mental hospital for observation. The news had a field day with the coverage. I had a couple missed calls from friends and colleagues from work. One from an unknown number. Management had contacted the police. There was some kind of investigation. Jesus, I don't know what to do. I can't bring myself to open the closet. I can't lose Terry again. I won't. But I think something is wrong with him. The one that came back. I told him to stay in the guest room until we can figure out what to do. He won't or can't speak. Sometimes he gets angry like he doesn't know where he is. He's been banging on the wall since the sun went down a couple hours ago. I don't know what to do. I'm scared if I talk to the police, they'll take Terry away. I'm just afraid he may not have been the only thing that came back through that mirror. The next post is titled, "I shouldn't have spied on my neighbor." I need to get this off my chest. I live in your standard middle-class neighborhood. One where all the lawns are neat, green, and tidy, and there's virtually no crime. The neighbor to the left of me, a kind, older woman, is one of the sweetest women I've ever met. She has never been a problem. The neighbor to my right, however, is a different story. In all my years of living here, I've never caught his name. From rumors around the neighborhood, he's a divorcee with his longtime wife of 30 years. Apparently, he lost custody of both kids due to his tendencies, and since then, he's stuck to himself. The issues arise, however, when the sun goes down. From my window at the dead of night, I've only ever seen one room lit in his house, his upstairs bedroom. From this room, I hear constant, awful mechanical whirring. To me, it sounds as if he's crushing something hard, something thick, layered, and bony. It makes me sick thinking of what he could be doing in there. The worst part? My wife has never heard the sounds herself. Like clockwork, I jostle her awake, and by the time she's by the window, the sounds have ceased completely. It's as if he's toying with me, taunting me. I've devolved into tucking my daughter into bed and standing by my bedroom window in the total darkness of my house until the sun once again rises and the light in that room shuts off. It has been months and I had enough. I had to get a closer look. I know how you're going to judge my next actions. I know you'll probably think I should have called the police or tried something safer, but you don't understand the unbearable, morbid curiosity that's been gnawing at me like a disease. I had to know what was in that room. I was going to find out. I called in sick for work that morning and I staked the neighbor's house out. Patiently, I waited by the dining room window, kissing my wife goodbye and sending my daughter off to school. Patiently, I counted the seconds, minutes, hours it took, until finally I saw the neighbor's car exiting the driveway. After waiting 5 minutes, ensuring he wouldn't return, I hurriedly exited my house and hopped his fence, tiptoeing to his back door. I gently tested the back doorknob, praying for an easy entry. To my surprise, the door gave way and opened. It had been unlocked. Immediately upon entry, I was thrashed by a putrid, rotten smell. This smell enveloped my head and made me instantly doubt my decisions to come in. Despite the smell, however, my curiosity got the best of me, and like a hook in my chest, I was drawn to the staircase leading to the second-floor bedroom. Slowly, calculated, I took a step one by one, making my way to the top. With each creak of the old, weathered, cracked staircase, my brain screamed at me to turn around. Something deep inside me was telling me to leave. I was in danger. But something deeper in me told me to push forward. The sounds, the sleepless nights, the sheer, unparalleled desire to see what was up these stairs ultimately propelled me to take my final steps and make it to the top of the staircase. Upon reaching the top, however, I instantly heard something. A dampened, weak groan. It belonged to a woman. I slowly made my way to the source of the sound. The bedroom. I stood there for a second. The door was closed. As I stood there, I felt the doorknob staring at me, egging me on to open the door and get to the bottom of what's been eating at me for so long. Before I could even think otherwise, my hand started moving slowly to the doorknob, mere inches away from contact. Then, a voice. It was the woman. "Please, no, don't do this. You're not a monster. You can take the kids back. Just let me free with my leg. You've already taken everything else." My eyes widened as my brain connected the dots. Was she the ex-wife? Did this mean... Before I could grasp the doorknob and see this horror for myself, my phone rang, startling me, making me jump back with an audible gasp. The woman, realizing I was not her husband, broke out into a desperate, panicked yell. At once, she begged me to release her, that if I didn't, I was complicit and I was responsible for her torture. In the midst of all this, however, was my ringing phone. No caller ID flashed across the screen. Already knowing who it was, I clicked accept call and slowly raised the phone to my ear. A low, gruff, freakishly calm voice spoke. "I know where you are. I know what you've seen. You think you broke in? I let you in. I played you like a fiddle." I meekly responded, I'm calling the police." "I wouldn't do that if I were you," the voice responded. "I'm sitting in the parking lot outside your daughter's school. For her sake, you should turn around and leave." "You're bluffing. You can't escape your actions," I weakly stated, trying to convince myself more than anyone. 6602 Workshire Lane, 1241 Forest Road. As my wife and daughter's current locations rang through my ears, he continued. "Your wife gets off work at 3 and picks your daughter up at 3:30. Your daughter has ballet lessons from 5 to 6 p.m. and you pick her up 5 minutes late every single time. I've been watching you. You are not in control. If you know what's best for you, for your family, you're going to back away from the door, leave the house, and never speak of this to anyone. Understand?" Before I could respond, the line cut and I was left standing there with the woman on the other side pleading with me. Stone-faced and without another word, I slowly turned around and made my way down the stairs. I exited the house and without looking back, made my way to my own front door. It's been 3 weeks since that incident, and the metallic crunching sounds have continued. I feel stuck. I want to help the woman, but sitting here on my bed, typing this next to my wife and my daughter in my arms, I need to prioritize my own family, no matter the cost. The next post is titled, I had conversations with my brother before I found out he died week before. This is the first time I'm actually writing about this. So when I was 13, my older brother, 18-year-old, and I were on our way to a movie when we were hit by a drunk driver. I woke up in hospital 4 days later, having lost my right leg and other leg in cast along with other injuries. That night, I woke up to my brother sitting by my bed telling me everything will be okay and to go back to sleep. Next day, parents came to visit and see how I was doing. I asked why my brother wasn't with them, and they looked at each other but didn't say anything. That night, I again woke up to my brother sitting by my bed again, telling me he knows I can get through this and I need to be strong and overcome this and not let my injuries stop me from living life. We talked a bit, him not answering specific questions but answering more general questions. Remember asking him why he was still wearing clothes from yesterday because that was very unlike him to wear anything similar to what he wore the day before. He didn't answer that, but when asked how he was, he said better than he thought he would be given the circumstances. He reminded me to be strong and keep living and not let anything stop me and how much he loved me before telling me I should get some more sleep. That next day, parents again came to visit me in hospital, and I again asked why brother wasn't with them, and they again looked at each other, and it was only after I said that I would like family visit together and not at different times, and would like brother to visit during day when we can talk more, instead of at night, that my dad asked what I meant, and I told him Andy had been coming at night to visit. My mom broke down and left the room. My dad then told me that was impossible because Andy died in the accident instantly. I didn't believe it and argued it and ended up having to be sedated. That night, I had no visit, and next day parents brought newspaper article about the accident. Years later, my fiancée had an experience, and having never seen a photo of my brother, she described him to a T and what he was wearing. That is a story for another time, but it was nice knowing brother is still around and looking out for me and those I love. Alright, so this is the continuation of the previous post. Since people asked on my last post, I got permission from my fiancé to share this. Something to note before getting into what happened. My brother died when I was 13, and we were both in a car accident. My fiancé never met my brother, never seen photos of him before this. My fiancé is bipolar, extreme highs and extreme lows. We had been dating for 4 months at the time and just moved in together. I didn't know at the time, but she had gone off her meds. This all happened while I was at work, and she told me about it later. She went out for a walk to get some air because she was feeling really claustrophobic. The start of a manic depressive episode. It got to the point she thought dying would be the best option, and standing at a corner, she thought the best idea would be to just walk into traffic. As she took a step off the curb, someone grabbed her and pulled her back and turned her around into a hug. Arms wrapped around her, telling her she doesn't truly want to do this, that everything will be okay, that she is stronger than she realizes and it isn't her time. Told her to just breathe nice, slow, deep breaths. She looked up at him and said thanks, turned around to wipe her eyes, and when she turned back, the person was gone. She told me about this when I got off work, and she wanted to put up a post online to see if she could find the guy, to say a proper thank you for his help in saving her. It was when she started saying what he told her and describing him that my heart started beating fast. I knew who helped her. She described him as being 17 to 18, athletic, slightly taller than her, dark brown shaggy hair, big freckle/birthmark under his eye, with a blue shirt that said J.S. Jenks in yellow letters. It brought me back to the visits I got in the hospital. The shirt my brother wore on the day of the accident and when I saw him by my hospital bed. I told her I know who helped her and I can't explain it. I told her it was my brother and she said it was impossible. It was a real person. She got mad at me for suggesting it because she never believed in ghosts or spirits or anything like that. Very skeptic. I asked her to please trust me, and that night we drove to my parents' house and I went into the basement and found a picture of my brother and asked if that was who helped her. and her face went pale and kept asking how it was possible. I had no idea what to say because I didn't know either, but told her how he came to me in my time of need, and looks like he came to her in her time of need. Still crazy to think about, and okay, so before starting, let me talk about this post, which really caught my mind while scrolling. It was flagged as not safe for work, and man, it had all kinds of content warning in it, which made me really curious. So let's just read it. It is just titled Hypothermic, and the post goes like this. I am driving on a dark, icy highway. There's a pistol in the glove box with a shot left. The back seat is littered with license plates from 4 different states: Nevada, Utah, Nebraska, and Michigan. The floorboard is covered with candy wrappers and fast food bags. I don't think I can remember the last time I had a real meal. Meatloaf. I am low on gas, so I take the nearest exit and look for a gas station. I pull into the gas station and see a squad car. I turn around and get back on the highway. I am driving on a dark, icy highway. I am headed to Alaska. I am 14 years old. My father is the sheriff of our small town. It is 1974. My father is a drunk and my mother is a coward. My father raped me for the first time on August 4th, 1970. I am 10 years old. The abuse went on for years until I got old enough to fight him off. Then he beats me and spends his days drunk in his recliner watching football. No one in town is any the wiser. I don't know if my mother knows about the abuse or not. I spend my days smoking weed in the school parking lot and trying to make everything feel like a bad dream. It's summer. The air is quiet and birds sing in the trees. The world is peaceful. Nature is comfort. Nature is safe. I am taking the next exit, running on fumes. No cops here. I go inside and get myself a soda and $30 on pump 2, please. No card, cash please. No, I don't need my receipt. Thank you. Have a good night. I face away from the camera. It's cold while I pump gas. My knuckles are red and freezing. My shirt has holes in it and my jacket is black and worn. I have worn the same clothes for weeks. My boots hurt my feet and I'm pretty sure I have blisters. I sleep in motels to the lullaby of crack whores fucking in the next room over and a meth head beating his girlfriend in the other room. Paper-thin walls. I wake up and get fast food and hit the road again. I am driving on a dark, icy highway. The trees are dead and the sun is absent. I know they aren't far from me. I am headed to Alaska. I am 24 years old. I find out my father has been abusing a boy at our church, 9 years old. I am rage. That night I slip drain cleaner in his whiskey and watch him drink it. When he starts getting sick, that's when I beat him. I use a tire iron from the garage. If I wanted the drain cleaner to kill him, I would have let it. I want to kill him. I bash his skull in. I watch his eyes grow wide with fear as his son murders him. My mother comes home from work to find her husband dead in his recliner. She screams in horror and calls the police. By this point, I am long gone. I leave a note. She doesn't believe me. I don't expect her to. I see my name on the news. There's a national manhunt. People don't like cop killers, even if it's his son. Even if he is a rapist. My name and face are everywhere. I am headed to Alaska. I am close to the Canadian border and it's 3 a.m. I can't go on any further, falling asleep at the wheel. I have hallucinations in the interstate lights. I see dark vans following behind me and angels perched like crows on the highway lights. No one else should be on this road. They would have passed me by now. I pull to another motel. The van passes. I sigh with relief. I am the only one at this motel. No lullabies tonight. I eat candy bars, drinking watered-down coffee, and watch westerns on the TV. I am the man with no name. I get up and peek through the blinds. The van is parked a few spaces over from my room. Another one pulls in. I grip the pistol in my belt. They found me. No more hallucinations. No more Alaska. I am 16 years old. My father is watching football. My mother is in the kitchen making meatloaf. I stay in my room. She calls that dinner is ready. I leave my room. I pass my father's recliner. He is wiping tears from his eyes, but I don't know why. We sit at the table and eat our food in silence. He doesn't look at me. He tells my mother that dinner is delicious and kisses her on the cheek. She smiles. He returns to his recliner. The game's back on, but he's not watching. His head is low and in his hands. I am headed to my room. It's 6 in the morning and I see squad cars outside. I am pacing the room, trying to plan a way out. There isn't one. There's only one way. I open the door, my hands are up. There are cops everywhere, their guns pointed at me. I drop to my knees. 3 of them come to arrest me. I panic and pull my gun and shoot one of them. His neck erupts like a broken faucet. They're screaming. The gun is no longer in my hand. I feel a boot in my stomach. I can't breathe. I feel another kick to my stomach. I am begging for mercy on the cold concrete. I feel a kick to my face. The year is 1974. I am smoking weed in the school parking lot. It's summer. The air is quiet and birds sing in the trees. I feel another kick to my face, and I feel myself nearly choke on my teeth. I spit some out as they kick my jaw in. I can breathe again, and I'm shouting. My father is crying in his recliner. I can't see through the blood. His eyes look in different directions as I beat him with a tire iron. He won't look at me. He kisses my mother and tells her dinner was delicious. Meatloaf. I feel another kick to my stomach. She smiles. I am headed to Alaska. Alright fellas, I think it's time to wrap this video up. Please tell me in the comments which story was your favorite, and I'll keep making these videos. I love you all. Thank you so much for watching. It really means so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.